Hello everyone and welcome back to some Lords of the Fallen invasions. This one is mostly just to affirm you that 1v2s, regardless of invasion game, are not trivial. So if you get your butt handed to you by two guys who can't hit each other, you're not alone. Thankfully I have curated to maybe not the most spectacular, but at least some good examples of 1v2s and how you can pull out some victories, and to talk a little bit about Lords of the Fallen, specifically on why 1v2s might be a little bit more challenging depending on your, I guess depending on what you're used to in terms of like FromSoft invasion games. Here, this is the Light Reaper boss arena, but without the Light Reaper. And my only PvE help was the Rogar Ruiner there. Now, granted, he's really good help, but really, other than him, like, there's not really many enemies, and especially with like how Lords of the Fallen restricts the area with Crimson Rituals, like it makes the 1v1s great, but it doesn't necessarily give you as much level to work with when compared to like Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring. And the general lower damage, like minus some like Grievous Strike stuff. If you're like looking at similar leveled characters, it can be hard to force one or both of the guys to back off, and especially if they can throw spells and stuff at you from a distance. Unlike Elden Ring, which I am most familiar with, where Flame Strike can sometimes, if they forget to level health, it can one-shot, but you can pretty reliably do like a huge chunk of health to force someone to just like give you some room and back off. So that makes Lords of the Fallen a little bit more difficult, especially with how not as transparent the poise system is. But again, still very fun, and there are still creative ways you can do it. Like with spells, you can separate for aggro, or in these first couple, as you can see, like I've just got throwables, and then once the host and phantom are in umbral, you do have a little bit of a timer for the Red Reaper, so long as the by increasing the dread meter stays open. And you can it if you it's a little bit lucky on like where their posture meters start, but like if you can get a nice riposte, you can also end up doing some really nice damage with a Grievous Strike. Or there are other times where you just completely saturate an area with, in this case, the Fire Javelin, and I have the Umbral Eye socketed. That is the one where if they hit me while I'm in invincibility frames, they take wither damage. So basically here they just like take a bunch of wither damage and are standing in like constant fire damage explosion stuff from the corrupted banner javelins. And like I think they had already taken a little bit of a beatdown, so I was able to finish off the cooperator and then move into clean up in the 1v1. And there is there is a good amount of terrain in Lords of the Fallen. I will say it isn't necessarily like there's not nearly as many like gravity death spots though. But you can definitely use the terrain to separate yourself from host and phantom. So 1v2's still very fun. Just you gotta work for it. Well, like you always have to work for it, but there is unique. There's some unique challenges, especially like even in pretty much like I think every FromSoft title you have invincibility frames while you're backstabbing someone, and with how the Grievous Strike system works, you don't have those backstab invincibility frames in Lords of the Fallen, or just like a parry or like a well-timed parry riposte. So you just got to get in there and do your best. And it is not, again, not doable, but it's not trivial. And especially if you have guys like throwing lots of spells like Glorious Judgment at you. That guy, he used the lantern, lost health, transferred his health to withered health, and then just was in the fire of the banner javelin and ended up going down. So what you've seen here has been it's the level 110 strength leaning quality build with a bunch of poison stuff. I think in these last two I've been using Kukujin's sword because short swords are they're fun. And I think two-handed dealt just enough poise damage to get through those axes. And then just as a short preview of coming stuff, I've used one of the available respec items to test out an Umbral build. A little bit of a preview of Nightmare Before Halloween things. Yeah, I'm just mostly throwing this on the end because I knew I would just be yapping the entire time about 1v2s and probably not even necessarily talking about the build before getting to a spot where I would reasonably want to do an outro. So hopefully you enjoyed the invasions. Got some affirmation that 1v2s are rough. Regardless of game and skill level, fighting two guys who can't hit each other is not an easy thing. Yeah, as this finishes up, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and that I will catch you in the next video. See ya!